Hey guys, if you're shopping for knives and gear, make sure you check out the description of the video you're watching right now for links to some great online retailers. There's also individual links for knives that I personally recommend. Thanks! What's going on YouTube? Metal Complex here, and welcome to episode 78 of The Knife Guy. If you're new to my channel, you just came out of some weird corner of the internet, I am a knife guy, knife user, knife collector, knife enjoyer of many sorts. We are all knife guys and gals in this weird EDC and knife related world, and we all go down our own unique paths, but oftentimes those paths intersect, and at those intersections are shared or common experiences. That's what I like to talk about on this show, I guess. So this series, right? That's what we call it. I like to lay out a bunch of knives that are either mine or some of my generous viewers, like this Brown Knives Cortex. God! This is cool. And I just sort of, get them out, flip them, kind of look at them. Give you guys something to watch or listen to on this Sunday. Hopefully it's beautiful where you are. So what are we talking about today? So last week I talked about, waiting for something you really want, right? And how, I don't know, like, I guess this is kind of a continuation. This series has just turned into kind of a, like, there's a general topic, an idea topic, and then I just ramble, right? So, sometimes it's a continuation of what I talked about last week. Sometimes it's a hybridization of something I talked about a long time ago, and sometimes it's a totally unique set. It's whatever, right? I really like doing this. There's a couple of things here. There's so much coming in late November through December. Oh man, I can't wait to show you guys what's coming. A lot of this, though, a lot of what's happening on my channel is a product of patience. Now, I'm going to define patience as just forcing myself to wait, gritting my teeth and forcing myself to wait. If you define patience as like somebody having a calm demeanor and waiting, right? Then your definition of patience is not, like, my definition of patience is I have the option to go ahead and like make a rash decision out of frustration, but I also have the decision to simply wait for what I want and still be frustrated about it. I chose the latter on three different things. Obviously, one of the things is what's happening here with the Shaman. Everybody keeps asking when I'm going to send this guy off to have it textured. By the way, I did add the MXG deep carry clip to the Shaman, the one that's made specifically for the Shaman. I chose this one because it's very similar. Well, that one's got a different clip. What's the one that I can show? There we go. Very similar to the Hinderer clip. It's just a deep carry version that goes on the Shaman, right? So anyways, what I'm doing with that, I'll probably have that for a bit. I'm just enjoying it right now. Eventually, it'll get sent off to Fanatic Edge. Everybody wants to know who's going to texture my skills for me. I think I'm going to have Fanatic Edge do it because I like what they did with the Chavez 229 series here recently. Anyways, that was a product of being patient. I just felt like they were probably going to make the scales right, and I waited, and it was so great, Here's another twist on that. So I had decided about, a month ago that there was a knife that I absolutely must have. And I thought, I'll wait, right? I know it's going to be a little bit before I get my hands on this thing. So it's funny, I got a couple of stories mixed into this story. So a post came about on Instagram, and I thought, oh, neat. Okay, now I've got a thread to follow on this thing that's going to be hard to get. I know that like something's going to be available at this place, and I'm going to try to get my hands on it, right? The reason I'm being vague is not to be like, I'm not trying to gatekeep at all. I'm not trying to keep people from getting their hands on stuff. No, I want it to be a surprise for everybody, because it'll make it fun on my channel, right? So and my patrons know, I sold some knives here recently, a bunch of stuff that I'm sure some people would expect me not to sell. We'll talk about that more, but I set myself up to purchase what I wanted, got all excited, right? Made a phone call and found out that it's going to be way harder for me to get my hands on what I want than I thought. much, much harder, right? So I was like, gosh dang it. Now, during this time, that was frustrating, right? Because I had already been waiting. I had already set my mind to this thing. I had sold knives in preparation for it. But a small detail that I had overlooked about this acquisition, right? That small detail actually turned into a bigger thing. And it was like, dang it. Frustrating, right? During all of this, I got a, and everybody's fine, by the way. We've all been cleared. This is all, it's all over. But my son got a little cold, gave it to me. It wasn't like a fever and a big old thing. It was like the obnoxious head cold that you get in winter sometimes. That's just, you can still go to work, you can still go to the gym, but it's just weighing you down. Your face is all clogged up, you ache, and you're just, you know, back of your throat. It's not really a full sore throat. It's just annoying. Everything is annoying, and you're more sensitive to, you're just, you know, everything bothers you a little bit more. That coupled with the fact that I just found out it's going to be way harder to get what I want, right? So I'm feeling like just like a frustrated child, right? Just kicking around. And by the way, it unfortunately translated a little bit into my Yojumbo review. I can't remember. I don't know if that's out by the time you guys are watching this. If it is, I mean, if it isn't, it'll come out soon and you'll see it. That review, actually, it was very positive. It was nothing against the Yojumbo. But I was like, just, you could tell I was frustrated about something. And it was like, I was coming out and saying, like, I was doing that thing where I try to head off negative comments. I'm like multiple times throughout the video, I was like, don't say stuff like this. Don't say stuff like that. I was being really, like, abrasive. Oh, man, that was unfortunate. But the Yojumbo got a positive review, right? But anyways, I was just mad. Just, god dang it, this head cold sucks. I want this knife. I've got the funds for it. It's going to be hard to get. Gosh dang it. Something to, you know what it's like, guys, those of you who buy, sell, and trade a lot. I guarantee you've experienced this. You have a knife that you love for a while, right? And then it sits around for a little bit and the love for it wears down and you start eyeing other stuff, right? And then in preparation to buy this thing, you go ahead and you sell, right? Whatever. In a situation where the thing that you want, you feel like it's going to be available soon, but you have to wait. It's very difficult when the funds are ready. They are in your PayPal, right? Or wherever you store them. It's not coming out of your bank account. These are funds that are dedicated to whatever knife you want, right? While you wait for this knife that you really want to come out, probably to fill the time, right? To kind of help keep that elated feeling boosted, right? I've got the money for the thing that I want, and I can buy whatever I want. You start shopping around, right? Just for fun, right? Just to entertain yourself. Start coming across other things that, ooh, I could have that right now, right? I could buy that right now. Can't tell you how powerful that feeling was, right? How tempting it was to just go ahead and spend that on something else that might scratch that itch a little bit faster. It might not be nearly as satisfying of a scratch, right? Those of you who just have, you know, one or two knives, right? If you're just fine, that's fine. But I know there's a lot of people like me who are constantly, you're buying 2, 3, 4 knives a month and you've collected a whole bunch, right? There's people who I'm not trying to be like, this is the elite part of the, no, there's just different types of knife people, and I'm of the type that's very much like I always need to be, you know, obtaining something new and switching something out and buying, selling, trading, whatever. So I'm mad at, you know, the fact that it's going to be way harder to get what I want, possibly just not possible for a long time. I'm you know, feeling down because I've got this head cold and I've got this money ready to go, and I'm looking at other things. I'm like, you know, something where I ended up I came very close to buying something else on the other night, and something told me in my mind, just wait, just sleep on this, right? You might feel differently in the morning, and that right there is something that we've all heard. Sleep on it, right? But it's so important. If you feel that little voice in the back of your mind going, is this really what you want to do? Or is this really what you want, or are you just spending this because you've got, like, the money it's been budgeted for and it's ready to go and you just want it done, right? You want the process to go ahead and start for the retailer or the person to, you know, box up your item and send it to you, right? So you can start enjoying the idea of something new coming in. Is that why you're doing it, or is it really what you want? So I told myself, sleep on it. That one additional day, not even a day, within 12 hours after making that critical decision, something happened that I never, ever would have expected. Actually, multiple things, unrelated things that actually, ultimately, me waiting one more day resulted in me getting exactly what I wanted, plus a better version of it. And I could not be happier. I'm so happy that I didn't pull the trigger on something else just to scratch the itch, right? I'm so happy that I waited. Ask me 5-6 years ago, that money had been spent within 15 minutes of selling this stuff on just the first thing that caught my eye, right? If there was some target item that I had to wait for, like if you told me I had to wait 5 years ago, I'd have been like, no, I'm just going to find something else and get it done. At this point, I'm a little more patient, right? I waited a year and a half for the Flytanium scales. I put in an order for my Evo Typhoon. I don't know how many months ago. I'm totally okay knowing that it's done right. My patience is, I never would have made an order like that, you know, where I knew I would be waiting months and months and months. I never would have done that 5 years ago. Now I can wait, right? This other thing, this more recent thing, I've had to wait, and just that feeling like, no, you've been through this before. Just wait, right? Just wait one more day. Pick the Sumo up and fidget with it here for a sec. Or just sleep on it is what I told myself. And then the next day came, and oh my gosh, I am so glad that I waited. Then something else happened that was unrelated, right? But I think it was the video that I posted, or just, it was the chain of events that all occurred leading up to this decision, and what I decided to do with the channel that, you know, resulted in somebody messaging me or leaving a comment, and that comment turned into a conversation on Instagram that was very beneficial. Really, really cool talking with this person, and the knife that is now coming to the channel. I don't know when it'll be ready. But there's another amazing knife coming to the channel, and I'm just so happy. And this has reminded me, I'm not going to say taught me, it has reminded me how important it is to just wait and be patient. And this is much easier for some people. I'm sure a lot of you guys are watching this right now going, what is he talking about? I got no problem waiting for what I want. You know, if I'm going to spend $100, $200, $500, $1,000, $5,000, if I'm going to spend a lot of money on a knife, I will wait to get what I want. My brother is much better about that than I am. He waited 2.5 years to get exactly the Hinderer that he wanted. From, you know, the first time that he showed interest in a Hinderer and started having an idea of what he wanted, he literally waited 2.5 years to get for the exact blade, the exact finish, the exact steel, the exact titanium scale, the exact hardware, exactly what he wanted. He waited for 2.5 years before Hinderer came out with all of those parts, before they were something that we could acquire all at the same time. Nope. In the last 2.5 years, I've probably bought 20 Hinderers, right? I've owned 30 Hinderers total. I think 20 of them were purchased within the last year. So I am nowhere near as patient as my brother. And a lot of you guys watching this right now are probably, you know, either you're roughly the same as me, or maybe you have way more patience, right? Maybe you can wait for that stuff. It reminded me how important it is to just freaking wait, to budget for the stuff that you want. I do not spend money out of my regular income, right, for knives that I want. If I want something, I have to sell something that I own. It just doesn't occur that way. It's generally not, you know, the funds that this channel generates are, you know, funds that I have to make sure are all budgeted correctly. Everything has to be sorted out correctly, right? And then if I want something for myself, I have to use knife funds, right? But man, the process of selling, and yeah, I'll be honest with you guys, it is easier for me to sell stuff now than it was a long time ago before I had the channel. And honestly, it's probably easier for me than most people because I have the channel, because I have Patreon. You guys, a lot of you know, patrons get first crack at the knives that I sell, my personal knives. I offer ridiculous discounts, and that's number one. It's to, give the opportunity to my patrons who support me the opportunity to get something that may not be readily available and for substantially less than you would normally have to pay. I mean that, way less. It's on purpose. But it's also to make it a quick process, right? And because I have I have about 130 people supporting me on Patreon, there's a wide audience of people there that might be interested in my knives. So yeah, it is a little easier to sell things, and then because of the reach of the channel, it's also a little bit easier for me to find the things that I'm looking for. But again, this item that I was so I think I've been so spoiled, right? I was so used to I want to get my hands on that, either as a loaner or as a purchase for myself. Because of the reach of the channel, it has made that literally hundreds of times easier than it used to be. So I wasn't used to being told no, right? And so I was like, I want it, and on top of that I was sick, right? So, and I realized, I was like, you're being a baby, chill out, just wait. And it worked out. And I realized that exact same type of circumstance could have occurred whether I had the reach of the channel or not. It was just a product of being patient, right? If the stuff that you are interested in spending your money on, or it doesn't even necessarily have to be about that. If there's some sort of event that you want to occur and you have the means to potentially make that occur, and one of the ingredients, right, the most crucial ingredient is just patience, it should be a no-brainer to just be patient, because the end result will be so much more worth it if you have to wait for it, right? And knowing that I had to wait for this item, and that I did, and that it's actually going to happen, and the outcome is now better, it makes it substantially more worth it to me than if just one day I woke up and I was like, I'm going to acquire this today, and then I just push a button and ship some stuff off to people who bought it, and then just turn around and buy something else that I want, right? That's great, but it's not, the experience isn't as special, the story behind it isn't as special, right? And that, a lot of that, all these years buying, selling, and trading, all these different knives that I've handled and acquired, different means of acquisition, right? The story behind it and the feeling behind it, the emotion behind it is so much more valuable to me now. And I'm going to try to not lose sight of that as this channel grows, because I feel like this channel is just going to keep growing, and I'm going to keep handling crazier and crazier stuff. And, I've said this many times before, handling so many knives, right? So many knives every day, all the time, right? So many things that used to be completely unobtainable to me are now, it's just a message. It's as simple as messaging somebody on Instagram, right? I'm trying to find ways to keep that from dulling. Excuse the knife pun. Because I review a lot of stuff now that normally would have been substantially more exciting, and a lot of that experience is taken away by the fact that it was so easy to get my hands on. And again, I'm not bragging at all. I'm telling you guys exactly how this feels from my perspective, and ultimately how much more important patience is to me. Especially when something is even, how do I say this? No matter how I say this, it sounds like, even for me. It's even hard to get for me. Oh, God, that's cringy. I hope this is translating correctly. Even when it is a situation where the fact that I have a YouTube channel and a large reach still doesn't change the fact that the item is still very difficult to get, right? It's all that much more important. That's what I'm saying. If there's something that you are after, you have the funds to acquire it right now, and you are not chopping your budget, you're not decimating your budget, the money that you use to live, to support your family, right? To pay for, your apartment, your home, your vehicle, right? If you're not decimating that income to get this item, right? You have these funds set aside to get what you want, and it just requires a little bit of patience. Oh God, let it unfold. Be patient, wait for it. It will be so much more worth it. You will appreciate that item so much more when you finally have your hands on it. It is worth it, right? People who aren't as crazy a knife nut as me are people who actually did come out of some weird corner of the internet and have no idea where they are right now. They're probably listening to this going, oh my gosh, this guy has some serious problems. I got a serious obsession with knives, but I had to figure out how to control it, because there was a time where I was taking chunks of funds out of my paycheck to pay for things. I was losing money on sales and additional acquisitions, right? I had to find a way to control it. So the budgeting was the first part. The patience is definitely the hardest part to get control of. And I'm not saying I'm a master, right? But those situations where I actually do implement it properly pay out so much better. Boy, 20 minutes already. I've really been talking for a long time. Civivi Ortus FRN version. Civivi Ortus carbon fiber and Damascus version. Ooh. Like I said, Brown Knives Cortex. There's an example of something people really want and can't get their hands on right now. Perfect example. Of course, Spyderco Shaman with the new titanium scales. Direware S90. The Hoback Sumo. Button lock. Oh boy, that's smooth, right? Very cool. Spyderco Military. Yeah, that thing is an absolute monster. Benchmade Bug Out. 20 CV version in G10. Way better than the FRN version, even though it is stupidly expensive. And my new XM18 3.5 inch Spanto titanium scale in S45 VN. I should do that more often, at least at the very end of every Knife Guy. Guys, that's going to be pretty much it for today's Knife Guy episode. I hope at the very least this was mildly entertaining. Please follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, I do, of course, have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like, so check those out. And if you enjoy all my content, go ahead and click on that Metal Complex logo right there and subscribe, because there's definitely more coming. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and have a great day.